years, I could be a superhero!
I'm a superhero! I'm a superhero! I'm a superhero! I'm a superhero! At least as good as me!
With the success of American superhero films, more superhero material have begun to appear, ranging from animated films, live-action TV series, merchandise, and even the return of older franchises. The same can also be found in anime. When I say the word superhero anime, I'm sure you're thinking of these anime adaptations of Marvel and DC Comics. While their reception is mixed, perhaps they appeared a little early in comparison to the superhero anime, My Hero Academia, and One Punch Man. These two series have managed to stir up interest for a market of superhero and supervillain anime. While people are busy butting heads arguing which is better, we should instead explore the rest of this genre, demographic, or whatever you want to call it. Most people assume these are the only two superhero anime, but that's far from the truth. Many superhero classes have existed since the 1960s and 1970s, well, possibly even older because Golden Bat predates everybody. Yeah. But this video is not about the history of anime superheroes, it's an introduction to the top 50 superhero anime, because there is that many, and many more are on the way. Currently in 2017, there's a lot of news of superhero material, and if I were to explain each one of these titles on screen, we'd be here all day. For the next couple of months or maybe years, I'll be talking as much superhero anime as I possibly can with various issues. This video is issue 1, welcoming you into the world of superhero anime and manga. Also, I'm not gonna seriously rank them, I just want to share anime with you. Close your folder of naughty pictures because it's hero time! One of the reasons why I want to explore this concept is because I'm getting a bit fed up with YouTube. There's been a few minor videos speaking about superhero anime, but most of these uploads just talk about series everyone already knows. So the video comes off as kinda lazy and maybe greedy, because they're taking advantage of the current superhero hype, which may remain popular for years to come. Maybe. However, it is vital to focus on the present, which is why I'm doing this in hopes to inform people of a much broader perspective of superhero titles. People obviously know about One Punch Man and My Hero Academia, hence their appearances on the thumbnail, which is meant as clickbait to draw in people. Ironically, it also emphasizes a lack of knowledge of the superhero medium. Notice how no one has managed to come up with a top 10 superhero anime? It's never the full number. The closest the net has gotten is top 10 superpower anime. And trust me, there's a difference between shonen heroes and superheroes, but that's a topic for another day. Hopefully someday. With One Punch Man and My Hero Academia being the most trendy, the other title you might have heard of is Tiger and Bunny, and these three shows mark the more mainstream, if you will, among superhero anime, usually because that's all people know about. As I said before, there's more than 50 out there, and I'm here to at least get your foot in the door with some of these series. Other examples of modern titles include Samurai Flamenco, Zetman, Yatterman Knight, Heroman, To Be Hero, Astro Fighter Sunred, Precarious Woman Executive Miss Black General, Typicon 24, and the highly anticipated Infinity Force and the Reflection. There are other heroic examples, but I haven't seen them yet, so I can't give an accurate comment until further noticed. Like Towa no Kwan. Also, I'd rather talk about these three shows much later since I'm sure you already know about them, so I'm not gonna waste your time. My Hero Academia Season 2 just started, so I need to wait until more footage becomes available, and obviously One Punch Man 2 hasn't released anything yet. That's enough build up, let's Superman that hoe! Samurai Flamenco was originally met with negative reception, but as the years passed on, the critiques have been mixed. When it comes to watching anime in general, your enjoyment all comes down to your expectation. What are you looking for? In the case of Flamenco, it begins as a realistic hero series, meaning no superpowers similar to the Kick-Ass films, but as the series continues, it enters full-on superhero mode with monsters and costume villains. This was a sudden change in tone which naturally resulted in a lot of people dropping the series, but if you were told beforehand what type of superhero anime it was going to be, then people wouldn't be so mad. Samurai Flamenco actually explores different styles of the superhero, mostly from the Japanese perspective. First is no powers. Then there's human-sized monsters that explode when they die, hence the Kamen Rider area. But then it goes into Super Sentai where they're combining robots and 5-color team members, and then it enters the realm of Watchmen, followed by Ultraman, and finally ending with a confrontation with people, heading to the more psychological superhero route, slightly akin to Birdman. I personally prefer the ending to be a bit different, but the benefit of this show, it manages to be diverse, ranging from serious to silly to serious, or sometimes both. Okay, One Punch Man 2 hasn't aired yet, but this anime should help with the wait. Astro Fighter Sunred, or Tentai Senshi Sunred, is a short comedy series with 52 episodes, each being 13 minutes long. So, it's really more like 26. Whatever, the main joke here comes from Sunred because just look at him. He doesn't wear his full costume, and he's an asshole. Meanwhile, the villains from Florsheim are pretty nice people. This anime is more from a Japanese society point of view, since all the villains behave with a lot of etiquette and actually have part-time jobs, which interferes with their supervillain activities. But the strongest aspect of this show is clearly General Vamp. He's the best villain ever! This guy is way too nice to be a supervillain, and he doesn't seem to be aware of it. You can get a good idea of this show from watching a few episodes. I found myself always saying, I'll just watch one more episode, and then it would eventually turn into many episodes, so it's a little addicting. Most of the humor is dialogue based, which is why animation is very limited, so keep that in mind if you're doubtful of the show. Or I should instead say, don't let the animation bother you because, as long as the joke is funny, then the comedy is doing its job right. But if you stick with it long enough, you'll be trolled with the best animated scene of the show.
Boobs are justice!
On the subject of comedy, there's also the manga, Precarious Woman Executive Miss Black General, which has been confirmed for an app anime. Yeah, that's something I never heard of before, but I understand why they're doing it. Okay, so this manga is relatively new as of this edit date, and each chapter will be about 9 pages in length, so I always assumed an anime adaptation of the series would be done in animated shorts like 5 minutes or so, and it seems that's the direction it's headed. I have a review done for this series, so if you want more info, you can watch that. However, I will tell you that this manga is really funny, and it features a villain who has a crush on Japanese Batman, who's named Brave Man. You will get hooked on this thing by 5 or so chapters as it gets funnier every time. It originally begins a bit naughty, but it's gotten much more creative with its comedy as it kept going. Like Astro Fighter Sunred, most of the content is from the villain's perspective, and their episodic shenanigans of world conquest, except they're hindered by having a miserable budget. I'm sure this will become a favorite for a lot of people. I'll talk about this series again in the future once the anime releases enough episodes.
Let's do it.
Are you ready for the next episode from My Hero Academia? Well, there's another superhero anime by Studio Bones which may quench your hero thirst, and that is the 2010 anime Heroman!
Heroman and the coming soon The Reflection are both anime in which Stan Lee had a part in creating the story.
Minasan konnichiwa, Stanley Desu. Thank you for joining all of us here at the Tokyo Anime Fair 2010 to introduce you to our brand new superhero for the 21st century, Heroman.
Heroman is surprisingly set in a certain location. That looks kind of familiar. Oh my god, it takes place in America. Yeah, you can represent America with things like
Football, cheerleaders, hot dog, hamburger, rock and roll, cowboy, Spider-Man, reference, and Stan Lee!
Stanley Desu.
Yeah, He cameos throughout the whole show, and it surprised me more than any other original American superhero product being made in recent years. The story is about Joey Jones, who has a toy that gets struck by lightning and it becomes Heroman. I don't know how this works, but when lightning strikes, stuff happens, I guess. I mean, what are the odds for lightning to strike the toy and to be colored exactly as the American flag with stars and everything? You know, if Heroman didn't have those stars, he could have easily been a hero from France or Russia. Just saying. Joey can also control said Heroman via wrist omnitrix thing, whatever, and he later gains super speed and can create force fields combining power, mobility, and defense. As the series continues, Heroman does develop updates with new attacks and modes. The anime consists of 3 arcs, which could easily be interpreted as a trilogy of superhero films. Episodes 1 through 9 cover the Skrug alien invasion, which surprisingly predates Terraformars with the sci-fi cockroaches. Episode 10 through 16, Joey comes in conflict with the military and the Japanese genius Dr. Minami, who's super over the top. I think Dr. Minami is the closest thing to a proper portrayal of Dr. Eggman, being both menacing and fun. Well, unless Sonic Forces redeems itself. Anyways, episodes 17 to 26 marks the finale of the show with more Skrug-related incidents and family issues. This anime is pretty damn addicting because it has some of the best cliffhangers I ever come across in any type of story. But as good as the show is, there's a few flaws which could have easily been avoided. Can you spot what's wrong in this scene? Despite being set in America, there is no English dub. But it does have a Spanish dub.
What?
This is the total opposite of El Cazador de la Bruja, which is set in Mexico but has an English dub, and no Spanish dub, which is mentioned in my list of top 10 Hispanic anime characters. It's 2017 and Marvel has now joined forces with Disney, so it should be possible to dub this anime and put it on the Disney Channel or make compilation films for theaters. Disney has plenty of money to do that, right? Well, at least Brooke is here. At the very least, if an English dub ever happens, they need to cast Joshua Seth aside. You know why. You totally know why.
And it gets weirder. You won't believe what happened to me and 6 other kids. Oh, by the way, my name's Ty.
Yeah, make it happen.
Cartoon Network presents an animated classic, The Iron Giant. Friday at 8, only on Cartoon Network.
You could easily market this show to fans of the Iron Giant, Big Hero 6, and maybe even Big Guy and Rusty the Boy Robot. Remember that patriotic show? If you've seen those things, then you would almost love this anime because there is another noticeable problem in this show. Can you spot what's wrong in this scene? Heroman doesn't talk, which really could have been avoided. What makes Baymax and the Iron Giant so lovable is because they talk. I have a theory why Heroman doesn't speak, but that will lead to a lot of spoilers, so a video for another day. I know I was joking with the Americanization thing, but with all honesty, this American setting makes the anime very accessible. There was this comfort in watching backgrounds reminiscent of a local grocery store or the fences on the neighborhood blocks or the school zones. And speaking of schools, Miss Collins, I want to see you after class. Oh, that reminds me, who are the characters in this show? Most of the cast consists of Joey's friends and family, but the one character I expected something from was the grandma. She really doesn't do anything, instead it is Joey's sister Holly who does the most family bonding. And like many superheroes, Joey's parents are deceased, which leads to a story arc enforcing the tropes of great power and great responsibility. Yeah, that theme's a little cliche, but this show really pulls it off. I'm just annoyed that Heroman barely expresses any emotion, which could have led to the easy comedy of trying to hide the robot and maintain the secret. Well, things escalate pretty fast with the government getting involved in the plot, so it feels refreshing that it goes against expectations. Yeah, it does have the whole girlfriend thing, and Lena's really only there to provide emotional drama, but thankfully it's not the typical Kurosaki-kun Inuyasha type of thing. In fact, there's very little anime in Heroman. This show could easily be mistaken to be a Western work of animation, especially with these character designs. So taking accessibility into consideration, what makes Heroman a good superhero series, or at least one of many? Imagine you're watching a trilogy of films that gradually gets better with every episode. The cliffhangers are definitely crucial to its quality, but also presenting a really good underage hero. Joey was pretty much forced into becoming a superhero, and by the end of the anime, he comes to terms with it. Basically, he's a very mature young man who's learning to become a heroic figure like his father. While the story isn't dark, it does emphasize danger and makes a greater impact than most kid-friendly superhero films. I guess that's Heroman's biggest strength. It's a really good PG superhero anime. There's nothing inappropriate about it, so both adults and children can enjoy it. Personally, I think more people would like it if Heroman actually spoke or provided more comedy, but the amount of well-paced storytelling and his creativity outweigh that negative. For 26 episodes and 3 special episodes, Heroman manages to do what most superhero movies dream of becoming: a complete story. Heroman achieved the origin story, the sequel with better action and better villain, and the finale with a global-scale disaster. Heroman did this in a single year, which takes other films about 5 to 10 years to do, until they get rebooted. Even with this positive success, Heroman is not really popular. Most people don't even know it exists. Out of the 4 superhero anime I covered thus far, Heroman deserves your attention, especially when it's aimed at an American demographic. It needs all the support it can get because there's room for more. At the very end of the last episode, there's a scene after the credits implying of a sequel, but it never happened. It's been 7 years since Heroman aired, and there's still no English dub. Currently, the only way to watch this anime is via Crunchyroll, so support by leaving comments, liking it, reviewing it, make a video about it, whatever. If it gets enough attention, then maybe Marvel and Disney or Studio Bones will make more Heroman, or at the very least, make it in English. If that doesn't happen, well, I tried.
Heroman wo Yoroshiku.
On the next issue, the Dorombo gang attacks the Tatsunoko kingdom in search of the bastard mark. Will Gatchaman accept Ryu's challenge? Will Doronjo give a forehead flicking to Yatterman? And what about B-Module's boobies? Find out next time in Issue 2 Tatsunoko Productions. Look forward to it!